Hi, welcome to the channel. It's Signdanielle. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a true crime case and doing my makeup at the same time. I'm not going to be talking about what makeup I'm using. So if you're interested in what makeup I'm using, just look at the description below. If you like these type of videos, let me know. If you want to see other things, let me know. If you also want to recommend me some cases that I should research and do a video on, please let me know. I would gladly do it. And yeah, let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about the Slenderman case, which took back in May 31st, 2014. It was between three 12-year-old girls. Took back in Wisconsin, to be exact, Waukesha. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Waukesha or Waukesha, I can't even say that word. Wisconsin. So these three little girls, they came from all of them look like they came from a very loving family. They all looked like they were all pretty much very smart. You could tell that all three of these little girls looked really smart. So we're first going to talk about Anissa Weir. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Her mother's name was Christy Weir, and her father's name is Bill Weir. It shows when I look up her siblings that she only has one brother, and his name is William Weir. Then the other little girl, her name is Morgan Geyser or Geezer. Her mother's name is Angie Geezer, and her father's name is Matt Geezer. I tried searching up siblings, but there was nothing that came up. Obviously respects to the family. That's probably why, if she did have any siblings, or if Anissa had any other siblings, they wouldn't want for their names to get out. So yeah, those are the two girls. The other girl, her name is Peyton Lettner. She unfortunately is the victim of this whole story. So let me just give you a little bit more background. Anissa and Morgan became friends because they rode the same bus together. They were inseparable. After starting school, they used to do everything together. Their families loved each other, and it seemed like it was such a good friendship for the two girls. Also, a side note, Morgan and Peyton, they were both really good friends before, and that is why Peyton started becoming friends with Anissa and Morgan. Well, Anissa, she started being friends with Anissa because Morgan had brought her into the friend group, so they would all play with each other. So Anissa was really into reading creepypasta, like fiction. I say fiction because a lot of those stories are not considered real, and I don't want to say like it is real, and if kids watch, like, I don't want them to think that the Slenderman is real or anything, because it is a very serious situation on what had happened, and the influences were from this one story. Anissa was very into reading these like ghost stories and really creepy type of stories, and she would tell Morgan about it, obviously, because that is her best friend. And so Anissa would tell Morgan like, oh my gosh, like have you heard of this guy named Slenderman? Like he is he's like, I don't know, at 6 feet 7 feet tall with no face. Like he extends even more, like he's even taller if he wants to be. So Morgan was like, oh, what the heck, like I think I've had a dream with him before. So Anissa reads that Slenderman is in control of you when you start to dream of him. So Anissa's like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. Like she kind of freaks out and she's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, like you met him type of thing. And Morgan's like, remember I would see him in my dreams when I was little, like when I was 5. And Anissa was like, oh my gosh, like I want to see him, I want to meet him type of thing. They had this idea, well Morgan had this idea, allegedly Morgan had this idea that it would be a good idea for them to I don't know, like make a sacrifice type of thing, and show Slenderman that they want to be their proxies. That's what they call them. Like the kid slaves, they would call them proxies. So they wanted to be a proxy of Slenderman. So Morgan had this idea and said, hey, let's we should be proxies of Slenderman, like let's do something, like what should we do? And I can't remember, I think it was Morgan who had the idea of killing Peyton. She had the idea of killing Peyton and saying, well, this is the only way to show Slenderman like that we're worthy type of thing. And obviously this is like, my opinion on this is so like frustrating because there's so much background to this, and like these girls are 12 years old. They're 12 years old. How the hell are they going to like think that? Anyways, so Morgan's like, oh, let's kill Peyton because we need to show Slenderman that we're worthy. And Anissa's like, okay, like cool, let's go. When they were having a sleepover, the night was really good. Like they didn't do anything at night. It was like a normal sleepover type of thing. Like it was just normal. So obviously Peyton had no idea what was about to happen. So then in the morning, Morgan asks her mom, hey, can me and the girls go to the park? This was after they like ate breakfast, and like her mom made them all like pancakes and stuff. So her mom was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, go ahead. Like she didn't think anything of it. She was just like, yeah, like kids are supposed to go outside, like this is a normal thing, like, go ahead. And as the three were walking towards the park, Morgan shows Anissa the knife. So how they were gonna kill her was that they were gonna stab her to death. Morgan shows Anissa the knife and she's like, are you ready? Like this is really gonna go down. Like are you ready for this? And Anissa's kind of getting freaked out at this point, and like she's like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening type of thing. She's, in my opinion, it kind of seemed like she was freaking out, but like as well as getting really excited for what was about to happen. So they go to the park for a little bit, and I think they play at the park for a little bit, and then they tell Peyton, hey, let's go to the woods. Like there was woods close to where the park was. So Peyton's like, okay, whatever. So they all go, and literally it was kind of out of nowhere. Peyton is in front of them, and Morgan stabs her, and they kind of just take turns with it in stabbing her. And Morgan, it seemed like Morgan was stabbing her more than Anissa, because Anissa was kind of like scared. Like, it seemed that she was scared and she just didn't know what to do, and like she just didn't want to mess up type of thing. As they were stabbing Peyton, Peyton would then say that, I trusted you, like, what are you doing? I thought we were friends. And there was a time where during the stabbing they like stopped for a little bit, and well, they had, after the stabbing they had stopped, right? So Peyton is still alive. She's still alive during this point, and she's like trying to go towards the road to like try to get help, but the girls end up dragging her back and just basically like, you have to stay here, like we're gonna go get help. Like this was their, like, this is what they told the police, is that they told Peyton, hey, we'll be back to go get you help. Like, we're gonna leave right now and we'll be back to go get help. They didn't do that. What they were doing is that once they left, they were going to this national park that supposedly Slenderman was at, and like that was his mansion, and like that's where they were gonna show him that they were worthy and that they deserved to be his proxy. Mind you, where they were at, these woods, on where they were at, this other, where the mansion was supposedly at, the distance from the woods and the mansion by car, by drive, it is literally 4 to 5 hours to get there. How are these 12-year-old little girls going to walk from where they were at all the way to this mansion? It was literally 4 to 5 hours away by car. So they didn't get far. They really did not get far. They were walking like on the highway, on the side of the highway, and a police car found them, and they took them to the station. Back to Peyton. When they had left, she luckily was still alive. She was barely living, but her like survival mode kicked in, and she didn't walk. Mind you, she did not walk to the road. She was like dragging herself to the road. Someone found her luckily, and she went to the hospital immediately. So when the girls were questioned, well, no, let me backtrack really quick. The girls had told each other while they were walking, like after what had just happened, that whatever happens, they will be with each other through it all. Like, they are not going to leave each other's side or anything. The interrogation. So the cops, they put them in 2 separate rooms. Anissa was with a woman detective, and Morgan was with a man. Mind you, this is what frustrated Anissa and Morgan's lawyers, is that they did not give the girls a proper interrogation type of thing, because they did not let them know that the parents could be there, or that they had to be there, and also that they didn't have a phone call. So they didn't receive a phone call. The parents weren't there when they were being interrogated. These girls are getting interrogated, and the cops, it seemed like, because the videos came out of the interrogations, and it seemed that the cops were like super nice to them. Like, they didn't look like that they were being rude, or just like, because there's some cops that will tell you like to confess to a crime that you didn't commit, but obviously these girls did do what they did. But it didn't seem like the cops were concerned about the crime that they just committed. They were more concerned about their safety and how they were doing. These girls were questioned, and luckily they weren't the type of girls to lie, and they told the truth immediately. Like, it was no bullshit or anything. They told the truth. They were not bullshit. Like, they weren't wasting any time. They told them exactly what had happened. In the interview though, I don't know why, but Morgan, even though I know they are 12 years old, and usually 12-year-olds will kind of like, they're not dumb. I'm gonna tell you that right now. 12-year-olds are not dumb. They know what they are doing. And Morgan was asking the officer, oh, well, am I gonna go to jail and rot and die type of thing? I don't know about you, but when people say that, it's like, it's not more of like a genuine question. It's more of like, feel sorry for me, and like lower my sentence type of thing, because I don't want to rot in jail and die. So this officer was like, oh, well, I don't know, like basically telling her like, well, I don't know what to tell you. He says interrogation was with a woman, and this woman was asking her, this detective was asking her, hey, like, what happened? And like, you need to tell me the truth. Like, I need to know the truth. And Anissa, she obliged. Like, she was like, okay, like, I'll tell you the truth. Like, like I said, these girls were not bull, and they actually told the truth. And mind you, these two girls did not have any like issues. Like, they did not do any violence before. Like, they were like, their parents still think of them as like not a violent person, because they believe that they wouldn't do anything like that. Obviously they know that what they did was true, and like, that is what they did. But yeah, these little girls, they were not in any trouble ever. at school nor at home or anything like that. So it was just kind of a shocker to everyone that this was happening. I don't think they let them go home after that. So after the interrogation, I'm pretty sure they went to a juvenile detention center where they were going to wait for their trial. The trial comes, and it took them a while to get them on trial, only because they were so young. Like, they were really young. So in 2017, Anissa Weir pleaded guilty to being a party to attempted second-degree homicide. The jury found her not guilty by mental disease or defect. Morgan, on the other hand, she is not in jail. She is in a psychiatric hospital because her family believes, as well as Morgan believes, that she is schizophrenic. I say this only because, and I do believe it, only because her father has schizophrenia. Although some people do know how to handle schizophrenia, others don't, especially if you're at a young age. So she does have a higher chance of having this mental illness. So I do believe that she most likely has schizophrenia, and also because she kind of believed in Slenderman more than Anissa. She was more like willing to do anything to meet Slenderman, to just do whatever Slenderman wanted them to do. Mind you, when the detectives were questioning them, they told them that they had to kill Peyton or else Slenderman was going to hurt their whole family, either by killing them or just hurting them in any way, type of thing. So they didn't want that. They were telling them that they were just trying to protect their family, that they wouldn't ever do any harm. Mind you, also, I would like to say that Anissa also wrote a somewhat goodbye note. Christy Weir, her mother, found a note in her daughter's room saying, and I quote, "This is my final wish to those who care. Do not grieve my absence, but remember me for who I was. I love and cherish you all and wouldn't do you harm." This goes on to reference that she didn't want to do it, but it was kind of like she had to do it. After they sentenced the two girls, there really wasn't anything like circling after that. The judge did tell both of the girls that they were not able to communicate with each other, that they were not able to speak to each other any longer. Luckily, Peyton is still alive. She is fully recovered. She recently, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, she went on to an interview, her first ever interview, about what happened to her. And she was just expressing her emotions and what was going on and what her feelings were about. She considers herself as a survivor, and honestly she is a survivor of what had happened. Thank God she is fully recovered now. She has living parents, and her life, hopefully she moves on from this. I know it's so hard, especially for something that's so traumatic and that honestly basically literally just happened a couple years ago. I just hope that she's okay, that she's happy. I do hope for the best for the other two girls, even though what they did was so wrong. I don't wish anything bad for them, because I do believe that they were not mentally stable, even though Anissa is not in a psychiatric hospital. She is in jail right now. Anissa has a sentence of 40 years to life, and that is the story of the Slenderman stabbing. I'm pretty sure I left a lot of things out in this video, only because I'm still getting started on this whole series, and I am going to get better as it goes on. And so I really hope you liked it, and I hope you keep coming to watch more. Like I said in the beginning, please let me know if you would want me to cover a specific case. Leave it down in the comments below, as well as the whole makeup look is going to be in the description below, and what products I used. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share with family and friends, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.